Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. We know that you've got a lot to do, but we do appreciate your time here with us today. So joining us live, we have Patty Henderson. So please welcome Patty Henderson, Math Marketing Manager for Pearson Canada. After starting her career as a teacher, she's been fortunate to work in educational resource publishing for almost 30 years. Incredible, Patty. This is her fifth year supporting Mathology, and she's happy to share more about Mathology.ca with you today. We're also joined by Lisa Vant. Lisa Vant is a Pearson K-12 sales team former teacher who's been with Pearson working in Alberta with Alberta teachers for the last 9 years. Lisa is the contact for all of the Alberta principals, assistant principals, and teachers in the province that use Mathology.ca. Lisa provides information and guidance about the resources. She assists with resource choices as well. And today she will be monitoring the chat and answering any questions you might have about Mathology.ca. So without further ado, I know we have 1 minute, but I think we're just going to jump into it and people can join if they're still wanting to. So take it
Okay,
away, Patty.
awesome. I'm going to share my screen, so please work. And there we go. So
Good to go.
Okay, good. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And I actually wanted to say this. We're so glad you're here. This is a picture I recently took at a sunflower farm on my short summer vacation, and we're really glad that you could join us today. So thanks for taking the time. And we're going to jump right in because we have a packed agenda. And I just wanted to start off by saying, why would you choose Mathology.ca? And from all of the folks who have already started using Mathology.ca, they would say that it's everything you need to teach the new math curriculum in one convenient place. We have 5 different areas to look at today, some functions of Mathology.ca, and I'm actually going to give you a walk through the product. So I'm just going to talk quickly about the functions that you'll see today that will help you navigate Mathology.ca. So at the top we have search, and the search allows you to easily search for your curriculum-aligned lessons and activities, and yes, new curriculum. The plan function, the start of your year, we've actually created a ready-made plan to support you in your new curriculum, and we'll look at that today. Mathology.ca is a wonderful teaching tool, so it allows you to teach engaging lessons that include your Mathology little books that you have. And so we'll take a look at those today as well. It's a wonderful assessment tool, so it helps you know your students better with both a flexible print and a digital drag and drop assessment tool as well, and professional learning support. So you're able to use Mathology.ca to view short, in the moment professional learning videos that help support you as you do your activities. So that's a brief introduction, and usually I go for about 5 more slides, but today I thought it would be a good time to actually take a look at Mathology.ca and walk you through it instead of talking about it. So give me a moment here. I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint. And you should be seeing the home screen for Mathology.ca. So here's the logo. In the middle, you're going to see a search bar. We'll talk about search in a moment, as well as a browse. There's a carousel in the middle with your long-range plans that we have built for you to get you started with your new curriculum. And at the bottom, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, is a really handy tool that allows you to gather resources that you're going to teach maybe today or this week. It's kind of like your desktop for Mathology. It's a quick way to get yourself sorted at the beginning of the day or the week. So the 5 functions, the first one I talked about is search. So say you know what you're looking for already, and you're going to teach something next week on skip counting. I'm just making this up, but the search bar allows you to do a keyword search on anything that's math related. So I'm going to type in here skip counting and hit search. And so what you're going to see across the top are filters that really help you narrow down your search. Why would you want to narrow down your search? Everything that you can pull from Mathology.ca is down below.
Do this at the beginning of the year. Do you want a copy of it?
I do not, thank you.
You don't? All right. Anybody else? Anything done? I'll come up to you. I'm going to copy.
Sorry, Can you please mute your mic? For some reason, I don't have that capability to mute people, but we've got a couple. Awesome. Okay, thanks. Sorry, Lisa.
That's okay.
Oh,
No,
Patty. Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to stop. Bye.
that's no worries. Thanks, Shelley. That's great. So you're able to sort by a variety of filters because inside Mathology.ca, you actually have access to over 600 lessons from K to 6 in one license. So when I did skip counting, search for it, you're going to see 196 results. So you're probably thinking, that is a lot. How do I narrow that search down? Your filters will help. So most teachers would start here with the grade, and maybe we're going to go to grade 1. And you can see we've gone down to 46 results. You can also narrow it down by strand. So let's look at number. And also inside Mathology.ca, you have activities, you have readiness tasks, consolidation lessons. All of your 72 math little books, Mathology little books are in here, as well as intervention lessons and quick math everyday lessons. So let's get this down to a dull roar here and skip counting. Grade 1, Mathology little books, you have 12 results. And what you would likely do here is take a look at each of the math little book descriptions, and that will give you a sense of where you might want to go there. So that's a quick idea of how you do a keyword search. But I have to tell you, when you're at the very beginning of Mathology.ca, most teachers are really wanting to know, how does it support your brand new curriculum that you're just starting like now? And so on the right-hand side, browse is the place to go. So under browse, you can browse Mathology.ca by curriculum, which we're going to do now, by the Pearson Canada Learning Progression, which is the underpinning of Mathology.ca. You can see all lessons if you want to. There's over 600. We have interactive tools we'll take a look at today. And all of your 72 Mathology little books are searchable in the browse as well. But I think today is most important to take a look at search or browse by curriculum. So I'm going to hit that. And what you'll find on this screen, your sorter here at the top by grade. So I'm going to go into grade 1. We're going to stick with grade 1 today. Your brand new strands across the top. And as you can see, when I move my cursor to the right, what comes up underneath changes. I'm going to go back to the left-hand side to your strand. The eye will tell you exactly what's inside that strand, and the drop-down menu will give you your guiding questions from your curriculum. So for instance, this one's looking at how can quantity be communicated, and the learning outcome, students interpret and explain quantities to 100. So each one of these are clickable. We're going to start at the very beginning since we're at the beginning of the school year. I'm going to click on that, and you'll get another drop-down menu, and here are your knowledge expectations here. So the first one, for example, a numeral is a symbol or a group of symbols used to represent a number. And you might think, well, what is inside Mathology.ca that will help support that? To the left-hand side, you're going to see a green magnifying glass. If you click on that, you will get all the results that will that's inside Mathology.ca that support you. There's math little books and activities. And again, the idea is here to really narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down to grade 1, 29. I'm going to go down to the strand, which is number. And you know what, let's take a look at little books. So for that specific one, you're going to see, I'm going to scroll down, you have some Mathology little books that you might want to take a look at when you get to that. And let's see activity. We're going to try that, see what that looks like. There are 19 results, so you can see that you have a wealth of activities to look at as well. And they are here in order. They'll tell you the grade, the activity, and the number of that activity. So I thought today we would take a look at a Mathology little book to see what they can do for you inside and support your purchase of your Mathology print little books. And we're going to take a look at an activity as well. So let's start with the math little books. And the very first one, let's go into that. So it's a family cookout. I'm going to click on that link there. All the 72 Mathology little books look exactly like this. You have a tab called About. We'll walk through that. You have the lesson itself. You can see I'm clicking across the top. And you have some extra ideas around differentiated support. In the About tab, you'll get a quick about this lesson. And this book actually is written by Melissa Purcell. I'm not sure if you guys know her from Edmonton. So this is her book. And this one is from the Indigenous perspective, which is really also quite helpful. And so that's the About. Most of the books are done first off around shared reading. But if you want to know the independent or the reading level here, that Fountas and Pinnell level is there. The math focus. So this math little book is quite strong. It's looking at comparing and ordering quantities to 25, but also estimating and counting to 50. Just below that, and this is really important, Mathology.ca gathers your curriculum in one place, so you know exactly what is being covered from your brand new Alberta curriculum, and you can get an overview of that, a quick eye glance there. And just at the bottom, I mentioned the Pearson Canada Learning Progression. In its print form, it's a booklet, and it's K to 3. There's another one that's 4 to 9, and it really gives you a sense of what your students know about math across the grades. And so in Mathology.ca, that learning progression comes to life in that it will tell you the big idea that's being unpacked here, that same big idea for this one, but the conceptual threads are highlighted here in blue. So you can see where your students are coming from on the left, where you are right now with this Mathology little book, and where you're going to take them next. So that's a context setter. Most teachers will go straight to the lesson because this is where we get to the good stuff. So with the lesson, on the top right-hand side, you're going to get a bit of information about things to think about as you share the story. Just below that, you have a link. So you can share the Mathology little books through Teams here or Google Classroom or through a link. And we'll show you what that looks like today. Underneath the cover of the book, you're going to see information on the first read. This is a wonderful short introduction to thinking about what this book is going to be about, some questions you might ask the students, which are really helpful to get you started with that Mathology little book. And then the book itself, here is the cover, and right underneath is a live link directly to the online version of your Mathology little book. So I'm going to click on that. Each of the 72 Mathology little books has a home screen like this. You'll see the cover on the right-hand side. There is a read and listen feature, and there's an activity feature with each one. Let's go to the read and listen first. Your front and back arrows are on the sides, so we're going to go forward. And each of the math little books is projected in a 2-page spread, and at the bottom is the audio. It's a wonderful way to get started. So I'm just going to play a couple of sentences so you can hear what the Mathology little book sounds like, read aloud.
Let's get ready for the family cookout, I shout to my brother. We are going to help Mush'em catch fish for our cookout. First, we get the boat ready.
So it's wonderful to have that audio version of the Mathology little books inside Mathology.ca for you. Once you've read the book aloud, you've done some of the activities in it, a lot of teachers really love the interactive activity. So I'm going to click on the try this activity. Great for front of class. And there's a different interactive activity or whiteboard activity with each one of the Mathology little books. So this one is called How Many Beads? The audio version is here, so it can be read aloud again. And this is a activity that asks students to actually count on the left-hand side how many red beads. You put your answer in and keep checking. So it's a bit of a game. If you're wondering, what do I do with this activity? Really short teacher/parent notes. We called them parent notes because these were used quite often by parents during COVID-19. But this is your teacher note for this activity. Really short, how to model, what to do with the activity, and what to ask your students to do at the end. Teachers are making really great use of these, and it's a wonderful extension of your Mathology little book. So we're going to go back to the little book, and the last piece of the puzzle here for the lesson is differentiated support. And this is where you have access to all the line masters that are in the teacher's guides that you have. They're here in PDF and Word. So you'll have assessment masters in here, PDF, Word. Most teachers love them as they are, but if you need to modify, you have the Word version here should you want to. There's a connecting home and school letter that teachers use quite often. There's a math mat for this math little book, counting and recording sheet, 10 frames. So you have lots of tools at your disposal that really help extend those print resources that you have access to in your classroom. So Mathology.ca is a wonderful home for the Mathology little books. So speaking of home, I'm going to go back to the home button at the top, and I'm going to take us to, I told you there was a lesson in that section that we're going to look at. And so I'm going to look at counting to 50. That's in your new curriculum. So I'm going to click on this activity. So you have 72 Mathology little books and just a wealth of activities that support you in your classroom. And so this is what a lesson looks like inside Mathology.ca. It looks very similar to what you just saw with the Mathology little books. There's an about section, there's a lesson, there's assessment, as well as differentiated support. Today, you're going to get the quick version of my walkthrough because we could spend all day talking about this lesson, but I just wanted to give you a sense of what's inside and how this might help support you. So this lesson is looking at counting to 50. And right underneath the short introduction, so the activity for this one focuses on counting to 50 and finding out how many. To start, the class performs an action. Jumping jacks is what's recommended here, up to 20 times counting aloud as they do the action. Then a pair of students count up to 50 counters, record the count, then perform an action that a number of times. So it's a fun interactive activity that gets the students moving at the same time, which is, I think, wonderful. Content background for you so that students may benefit by knowing that using one-to-one correspondence to count a collection up to 20 objects, and that would be helpful for them to know that coming in, as well as relating a numeral from 1 to 10 with its quantity. So that's good to know. The focus is really looking at counting to determine how many from your curriculum. And here's your brand new Alberta curriculum here as well. So it's really helpful to know when you do these activities, you're actually getting at and unpacking that brand new curriculum of yours. And when I scroll down, similar to the Mathology little books, the learning progression is here again, and it will highlight exactly where you are, where the students would be as you're doing this activity with them. So really brief about that gives you some context for the lesson. The lesson itself looks like this. Across the top, you'll get the strand in red in the left-hand corner. This top middle bar will give you all the materials that you need to do this activity. So you can see here there's a multi-use card that are, it's a 10 frame and it's a PDF or a Word. Again, you can download that and also modify it should you use the Word. There's some action cards for this game and we'll look at those in a moment. And your assessment master across the top. So your toolkit is really at the top. The lesson itself is a three-part lesson. Down the left-hand side, you would start with the instructions in red, the before for the activity, what to do during, and it's around 20 to 25 minutes. Well, I'll always give you an estimation about how long this activity could take. Some ideas around how to differentiate, whether it's accommodations, extensions, or ideas for combined grades. At the top right-hand side, you'll get the consolidation for this lesson, the ideas on what to highlight for the students. In green, your what to look for, things to think about and look for as you're doing this activity. And across the bottom, many teachers have come to us to say that they really appreciate this. So the students are doing this activity in pairs in your classroom, you're circulating and you're seeing them do the activity, but you really want to know what they're thinking about. You need to pull that thinking out. And these probing questions have been developed for you to help you do that. They're not always easy to come up with on your own. So usually 4 or 5 really great probing questions that you can have at your fingertips to ask the students as you are circulating and doing this activity. I'm going to scroll down a bit. You have a few other tools at your disposal. You have a print version of that lesson plan. If you wanted to print that off rather than use it on the desktop, that's great. That's there. You also have the student card. So I'm going to click on that. So this is the activity the students would be doing, and this is where they'd be counting the jumping jacks here. You can print these off. You can do it in black and white. In color, you have that choice, and you can also have the opportunity. There's a print button down here, but you could also send it to your Google Classroom, for instance, or Teams. There's an easy link to take those straight there as well. And one other piece that we've added as well is we've given you what a completed one might look like, just so you can get a sense of what that looks like. And at the bottom, a few more tools that really will help you as you do this activity. You saw the interactive tool I showed you for the Mathology little book. We also have interactive tools tied directly to each activity that will help support you doing it, and we'll recommend the right one for you. We have, I think, well over 20 interactive tools that you can use at any time. They are linked here. So for instance, here's the Pearson Canada counter tool or the Pearson Canada 10 frame. So you can click on that and you can see that you can drag and drop these over and make use of it. So that's really helpful. And the last piece that I'm going to share with you on this activity actually, there's a couple more pieces, but the one I think will be really helpful for you. We heard from teachers that it's really hard to have time for professional learning outside of, what you're getting today. The days are really packed. And so we were asked to provide some short in the moment video support for each one of these activities. So you can get a sense of what you should be watching for and highlighting as you're doing this activity. And that this is a video that I think I would actually start your lesson planning with, because it really does help set the context. And it's in the right-hand side under professional learning. I'm going to click on it. It's called Learning Highlights Counting to 50. And I'm going to play it because it is really short. Each one of these just over a minute long. So let me play this for you.
You've watched your students complete the actions on the card. Now they've taken all these counters and made one large pile, and it's time to find how many in total. Some of your students may feel comfortable counting all the counters by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Others may organize the pile into small, equal-sized piles to help them skip count. 5, 10, 15, 20. Since students are working with larger numbers, they may all benefit from using a 10 frame to organize their counters. Your students might use the 10 frame differently. Do they fill one row at a time? Or do they fill one column at a time? Do they know to fill a 10 frame before moving on to the next 10 frame? Do students trust that a full 10 frame represents 10? Or do they count by ones every time? Those students who are familiar with skip counting may count by twos, by fives, or by tens, depending on how they fill the 10 frame. Discuss how all these different ways of organizing counters on a 10 frame lead to the same total.
So that is as you see, a short video, great way to get started. Now there's one other stop that I'm going to make here, and it's under differentiated support. And I just wanted to give you a sense of some of the other things that you have at your disposal inside Mathology.ca that really helps extend this activity. You have mini lessons. So you have one that's on grade. It's short. All your materials are here in PDF and Word, and you can print it. You also have 2 intervention lessons, and they are here as well. And they are short. So you've grouped your students, you know where they are and what help they need. These intervention lessons are quite specific to the help that they need, and they're here as well. Also some ideas around extension. Some possible misconceptions that happen in these activities and how to support your what to do's are right there. And lots of ideas on next steps in class, as well as next steps at home. So the activities are really rich, but you're given just enough information to help support you as you do this lesson. So that is an activity within Mathology.ca. So that's the teaching part that I talked about. The last step I'm going to make today, because we are getting close to 5 minutes left, so I'm going to take you to something that I think will make you happy. We did a search by keyword. When you know what you're looking for, you put the keyword in, and then you narrow down your search using those filters based on grade and the type of activity. That's one way of going about it. You can browse by curriculum, or you can browse, say, by your Mathology little books. So you have lots of ideas there. But we know that this is the beginning of a school year. You have a brand new math curriculum. There's lots new inside. And so what we wanted to do to give you a head start on your year, so you don't have to think about where to start and where to begin, we've actually created a sample plan to get you started with Mathology.ca right off the bat. And they're here across the middle. From K1 to 3. Mathology goes all the way up to grade 6, but I think today we're looking at, in particular, K1, 2, and 3. I'm going to do this, since we were in grade 1, let's stick with grade 1. We're going to do the sample long-range path plan right here. I'm clicking on it. The planning tool inside Mathology.ca really is intended to make your life as simple as possible when other things aren't simple. And so down the left-hand side, we have a notice here about the ongoing updates to lessons as we build them. We have interactive tools at your fingertips. So you saw that they were recommended with each lesson. That makes your life easier, but maybe you wanted to have them all in one place. So this gives you a sense of what interactive tools you actually have with Mathology.ca. And this is the place where most teachers they want Mathology.ca when they see this, because there's so many great interactive tools that you can use in front of class, but you also can share them with your students. There's a shareable link at the top. The one that I know you have financial literacy in your curriculum. The one tool that everyone loves is the money tool. It's at the bottom, because it's really hard to get your hands on Canadian money as an interactive tool. So this one in particular, most teachers really love having that as well at your disposal. So that was the interactive tools at the top of the plan. And then down the left-hand side, we have created some weeks for you to take a look at to use this as each week. And so September, I'm going to click on that. And as I go down, you can see that the math little books and activities change as we go from topic section to topic section. I'm going to keep going down. So we've done that curation for you based on the topic. So I'm going to go back up to September number and counting, because that's kind of the beginning. And so you can see you have 2 Mathology little books, and you have some activities there as well. So we've built that out with all the lessons that support your brand new curriculum right now. And know that there will be some new lessons added throughout the fall as well. Some of the really big changes in the curriculum, we needed to create some brand new lessons for, and those would be the ones that we'll be adding as you go. But you have more than enough lessons in here that support your brand new curriculum to get started. And the last piece I'm just going to say is that we've done this for you. You can use it as is. If you want to start doing using this differently, top right hand corner, use sample plan. I'm going to call it Patty's plan and save it. And what this allows you to do is make this plan your own. So down the left hand side, it's the same topics, but maybe you want to start with spatial reasoning first instead of counting. There's a little hand tool here now. You move that topic up and drop it, and it will land there in a moment. So that you can move that left-hand panel around if you want to, and you can move the Mathology little books up and down as well. The last piece, you can add any of your own lessons in here as well, but you have everything you need to get started. So that is your very quick tour of Mathology.ca, where you can search for curriculum aligned lessons. You have Mathology little books in here with some read alouds that are great, and you have activities that really support fun and engaging math in the classroom. So lots of things at your fingertips. I'm going into the last slides here for you, and then we can take any questions that you might have. So give me a moment here. When we reach this part of the presentation, most teachers will say to me, well, Patty, that's awesome. There's lots inside, you know, how much does it cost? And so you can see that Mathology.ca is really great value. With a teacher license, you actually get all the lessons from K to 6. So you can go all the way down to K and bring any of those kindergarten books. You have access to them. You have the whole curriculum in your license, which is important. So you have 72 math little books. You have over 600 activities. You have the interactive tools like the ones I showed you today. And you have multi-use cards like hundreds charts at your fingertips. So what does that cost? 1 year teacher license is $175, and you get all of those pieces in there. You can look at it over 5 years should you want, and you get a bit of a discount there. And you also have a bit of a discount should you want to look at it at what we call a school license. So if you buy 5 or more licenses in your school, that license per license goes down to $150. And the last piece of the story, we do have Mathology.ca, so the French version of this, on its way, coming soon for K to 3, and we're working on that madly this fall, and we'll keep you up to date on when there will be some lessons in there for you to access. So the last slide I'm going to share with you, because you might have some questions beyond today, and I'm going to say thanks to Lisa for taking questions in the background. This is Lisa's contact information. She's your go-to person in Alberta. And now might be the time, Lisa, if there were any questions that you couldn't answer, or if anyone wants to come off mute and ask any questions, we will be here for you. So thank you so much for coming today. It's really appreciated.
Patty, there was Sorry, there was one question very early on in the session about asking about other grades, grade 2 and 3. Unfortunately, I don't think we have time to show grades 2 and 3. And that was really the only question. Shelley fielded some other questions as well.
Awesome. And grade 2, definitely grade 2, grade 3 is in there as well. With looks very similar to what you just saw when we demoed the grade 1. So lots of activities and Mathology little books in there too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patty. That was just fantastic. I know it was a lot of information for teachers if that was the first time that they were seeing it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Patty and Lisa. Can teachers still go onto the site and receive a 30-day free trial?
Yes, they can.
Okay, so Heather, that might be an option in the next few days. Heather, I know you wanted to see the grade 2 or 3. So maybe just pop on and then it's exactly like what Patty demoed. All of the subjects or all of the grades are the same. And Suzanne Toth, that's a great question for Lynn Leslie, please. We're still not sure on funding for subsequent years.
Okay, understood. And I believe that the link for the trial is etr.mathology.ca. I think that's still the link that would get you to that trial, or Lisa can follow up.
Yeah, Lisa just popped it in the chat.
Oh, of course she did.
Yep, it's in the chat. Yeah.
So good stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh,
I'll hang on here just for a few moments if people have questions, but just know that everyone, you're free to leave and get ready for the next session that is starting shortly.
thank you. Great meeting you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks, Shelley, for supporting us as well. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shelley.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, it's I'm as you know, a big fan of Mathology and Mathology.ca. I think teachers are going to be, well, I know they will be well supported with the resource. And Christ the Redeemer has done a lot of work around sharing their scope and sequence and their unit guides, which are
Right.
super helpful. And one thing I wanted to interject and shout out was the fact that teachers can create a sample plan and then share that with another Mathology user. So it makes collaboration so easy, which is just wonderful.
Awesome. And you know what? It only takes a moment to show that piece. And so, Shelley, I will for the next session.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because and I even tried it out. I forget the name of the person. Oh, your tech person.
Jeff?
Um I can't remember, but we did try it where
Oh, yeah.
we tried to share from district to district and
Yep.
it worked like a charm.
Oh, that's wonderful. It might have been Rashad. Yep.
Yeah, Rashad. Yeah, it was Rashad. Yeah, he was so helpful going through all of that. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, good stuff. Okay.
Cool. So I guess we sign off and then sign on to, we have another one right after this.
Another one. Yeah,
Oh,
and I think Bev is hosting you in the next one.
okay. So we
Yes,
leave
Bev
this one.
Dutton will be hosting you. So pop into that other link and
Okay.
then there will be a whole fresh group to join. And I'm going to pop into another one, but really appreciate all you ladies have done for us today and in the past. Wonderful to have your support.